Hey y'all, Waffle here, and this is bad. Real bad.
I'm gonna kill you! Prepare for Rainbow Overload!
Chica's Magic Rainbow is considered by many to be the hardest boss in FNaF World. She was added as a boss in the game's Halloween update, in which you had to unlock a new set of characters to even have a chance of defeating her. One of the reasons this fight is so difficult is that she passively spawns mini rainbows that advance towards your party. If they reach a character, they deal 999 damage, killing them instantly. So then I got an idea. What if Chica's Magic Rainbow sent out her goons to defeat my characters in every single fight in the game? What if they spawned alongside all regular enemies, character encounters, and even bosses? I wanted to see if it was possible to go from the start of the game to defeating Scott with these rainbows hunting me down every single fight. This challenge forces you to change the way you play the game entirely. Now you're focused on doing nothing but wailing on every single enemy in the game in order to take them out before the rainbows kill you. To make the challenge even more interesting, I'm gonna ban the use of a few moves. Firstly, all insta-kills are banned. As if they weren't, I could insta-kill every single enemy and boss in the game before the rainbows reached me, which makes the challenge incredibly easy. And secondly, all new moves from the Update 2 characters are banned. That means no high-damaging moves like Jacko Bomb or Slasher, along with moves like Mega Virus and Fourth Wall that can get rid of the rainbows entirely. With these extra rules in play, I believe this is easily one of the hardest FNaF World challenges anyone's ever attempted. But when I started this challenge, I thought it would only take me a day to complete. Oh, pass me, you sweet summer child. Will I be able to defeat Scott? Stay tuned to find out. Enjoy the video. Before I spawn in Fazbear Hills, I'm on the character select screen. For the challenge, I need to prioritize damage. I need to kill every enemy I come across as quickly as possible so the rainbows don't kill me first. Team 1 consists of Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and Toy Bonnie, as they deal the most damage out of the starting cast. I considered putting Mangle on Team 1 because they have the move Poppers, but I decided against it. Although Poppers do a ton of damage, they take a while to detonate, and I don't have the time to wait for them to do so. I shoved everyone else on Team 2, and I went to Fazbear Hills. Firstly, I tried to catch the pearl for 100 coins on Dee Dee's fishing. Keyword untried. Next, I got into a battle with some gear rats and quickly realized how much of a problem these rainbows were gonna be. Immediately they started spawning, and in 10 seconds one of them already killed Foxy. We really don't have a lot of time before the rainbows start taking out characters. At most, we only have about 15 seconds before Freddy and the gang go into the white light of death. Thanks to Hot Cheese and Munchies, however, I was able to defeat the gear rats before everyone died. Next, I went to try and defeat the boss Auto Chipper. Okay, let me see if I can go kill Auto... Oh, poop. For some reason, when the fight began, almost all of my characters were already dead. The reason why this happened is pretty weird, but let me explain. When I finished the battle with the gear rats earlier, there were 3 rainbows left on screen when I went back to the overworld. What happens is that these rainbows don't despawn like you'd think they would. Instead, they're now just invisible because we aren't in a battle. These newly invisible rainbows keep moving towards your party even while you're on the overworld. They can still attack your party, and when they do, you can still hear the hit sounds. When you load into your next battle, the game updates the characters that were hit by the invisible rainbows for 999 damage, which kills them instantly. Essentially, rainbows can carry over and attack in between fights. This seemed like it was going to be a big issue to deal with in this challenge, but thankfully I quickly found a fix. After every fight, I can just go into a menu and back out of it, which resets everything back to normal. With this knowledge, I went back into the fight with all of my team alive and... I wasn't even close. My damage output simply isn't very good with the starting characters, and I can't kill the boss quickly enough. So how am I supposed to deal enough damage in time in order to defeat him? Well, I did level up my characters, which increases attack damage a little bit, but it's not gonna be enough. Thankfully, we do have access to a few items here. Firstly, I grabbed the Head Start Speed Chip to increase my attack speed, and I also went into Lulbit's shop in Fazbear Hills to buy all 3 bees. These bees shoot stingers at enemies, which provide extra damage alongside our character's attacks. I bought all 3 of them, with the intention of jumping Auto Chipper with all of my bees in order to defeat him. Thanks to this chip and the bees, my damage output was increased by a ton, and within my second try, I was able to win the fight. Auto Chipper, however, did not enjoy this experience at all. By the way, you may know that even if a character dies in battle, if they level up afterwards, they can get revived. But thanks to these rainbows, even after they get revived, they can still die again afterward. This makes it so a lot of the early game consists of my characters dying, being revived, and then dying again. I grabbed the 2 chips behind Auto Chipper. Head Start Defense isn't super useful, but Head Start Strength will be good for dealing extra damage alongside my extra speed. Next, I headed into Area 2, defeated the Auto Chipper there, and got the Ever Comet Weak Chip. While this chip isn't usually super useful, it sometimes causes comets to fall, which does help a bit in increasing our damage output. After this, I got into a battle with the Chop and Roll, defeated him, and then I got my first character encounter. This was the moment when I first realized how difficult unlocking new characters was gonna be. Remember when I said that the rainbows can carry over between battles? Well, that's exactly what happened in my fight with Phantom BB. The issue is that there's no time in between these 2 fights to go into a menu and reset the rainbows because you're immediately thrust into battle again. In every single character encounter in this game, you cannot reset the rainbows at all. This means you'll have to deal with characters already being dead, or rainbows that are already super close to your party at the start of these battles. Because of this, I ended up dying on my first ever character encounter. These fights are going to be very difficult to deal with in this challenge, but that's not even our main concern at the moment. To progress in the game, we've got to make it through dusting fields, and to do so, we have to defeat Bouncer. On my first attempt at this fight, I only got through half of his health before I game overed. For Auto Chipper, even though we initially weren't close to defeating him, I had items I could obtain to make the fight possible. For Bouncer, however, I've already obtained every useful item I have access to. I did buy the Mega Med, which does increase our healing output, but that doesn't really help when we're getting insta-killed by the rainbows. The only 2 options I have to increase my damage output now are grinding levels, which would take forever, or to somehow unlock new characters. Thankfully, I had some knowledge that would make one of these options a lot easier to accomplish. In FNaF World, even if you run away from a battle, you can still get character encounters. I discovered that if you quickly run from a fight, less rainbows will have spawned by that point, and if you get a character encounter, it becomes a lot easier. Due to this low amount of rainbow spawns, I was able to defeat JJ right before my entire team got wiped out. This method of unlocking characters definitely wasn't foolproof though, as I died to Phantom Chica along with dying to Phantom BB a second time. Eventually though, I ran into Phantom Freddy and was thankfully able to squeeze out a win. I'll just let the footage speak for itself afterward. The only issue is that he's absolutely useless. Wait! Wait, he can lower defense! Wait, he can lower defense! If I just popped Rainy Day at the start of the fight and lowered Bouncer's defense, I could win! Oh my gosh, this is gonna make the fight so easy! I can't believe it! I did get closer to defeating him, but I still can't deal enough damage. The issue is that I can do the defense debuff, but I have no character with a really strong attacking move that deals a lot of bonus damage from it. I started to look for more characters again. I ran into Phantom BB a 3rd time, and died a 3rd time. And I ran into Phantom BB a 4th time, and died a 4th time. Eventually though, my luck started to change. I got a character encounter, and surprisingly, I ran into Withered Foxy. Now, this may not seem like a super rare encounter, but after some further research, it absolutely was. There's this great video by YouTuber DJ Sturf where he ran a bunch of tests to see how often you can run into specific characters in FNaF World. In Dusting Fields, Withered Foxy is the last character you can encounter, with a shockingly low 1.38% encounter chance. But don't forget, I also encountered him without the Find Characters chip. This then makes the odds go from a 1 in 72 chance to a 1 in 360. I don't usually go into statistics for these challenges, because most of the time I'm just completely wrong, but the odds for this happening were so absurdly low that I had to mention it. What's even luckier is the fact that even though Withered Foxy has a high amount of health for a character in this area, I was actually able to defeat him right before everyone on Team 2 died. Now, at first I didn't think he'd be super useful, but after checking his move list, he's exactly what I've been looking for. Withered Foxy's 3rd move is Hot Cheese 2, and this move works similarly to the first, except now it spawns 7 globs of hot cheese instead of 3. This move has made me realize that the answer to beating Bouncer has been so simple this whole time. I already know Bouncer's #1 weakness. The answer is global warming! Basically, my strategy involves me using Phantom Freddy's defense debuff. After this, I'll stack Hot Cheese on Bouncer and start roasting him William Afton style. On my first attempt, I popped Rainy Day and got my Hot Cheese stacked on him. After this, everyone died except Freddy, and it was now a matter of stalling. Wait, he's actually getting really low. Oh my god! Oh my god, what? I got so lucky with the rainbows, oh my god! Somehow, Freddy was able to stay alive for half of Bouncer's health and was able to bring home the victory. I was really shocked. What I'm even more shocked about is the fact that this chart says that only 6.4% of my viewers are actually subscribed.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Real quick, I want to ask you guys to please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I mean, if you've watched my silly little shenanigans this long, I'm sure you've enjoyed it. Anyways, let's get back to the challenge. After defeating Bouncer, I ran into Phantom Chica, defeated her, and finally unlocked Lily Gear Lake. Also, I now have access to the Mines of Dusting Fields, and it houses one of the most important chips for the entire challenge. The chip I'm talking about is auto gift boxes. This chip spawns 4 gift boxes under your characters at the start of every battle, and if someone dies, the gift box revives them. Essentially, we'd be able to tank 4 extra rainbow hits at the start of every battle, which helps with surviving a lot longer. I then headed towards the mines, but before I could do so, I ran into Balloon Boy. If you guys watched my last video on my FNaF World Nuzlocke, you'll know the Balloon Boy was pretty much just a punching bag for the enemies. So much so that at one point, he even got to exactly 1 HP. One of the main ways he took damage in that video was that he got melted with tons of hot cheese on him. And only him. The enemies only targeted him. He's definitely mentally scarred from that cheese. But in this fight, I completely forgot about that fact and instantly poured 7 whole globs of hot cheese on his face. It was only after I selected the move that I had the horrifying realizations of what my actions had caused. Watching those hot cheese rain from the sky onto Balloon Boy was quite possibly the worst thing I've ever had to witness. I may have won, but at what cost? After this severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, I fought Eyesore in the mines who guards the auto gift boxes chip. The fight went pretty well at the start, but it seemed like I was gonna have to swap to Team 2 near the end. Somehow though, all the rainbows kept missing Phantom Freddy and I was able to bring home the win. I grabbed auto gift boxes behind the boss and made my way to Black Tomb Yard. While we boat over there, I want to go ahead and explain how exactly these rainbows work. You may have noticed that even if they hit my characters, sometimes they don't actually die. Basically, how they work is that when they attack, each one has a 1 in 4 chance to hit each of my party members. No matter what though, even if a character dies, this chance always stays the same. This means that the rainbows can end up hitting the tombstones over and over instead of my characters that are actually alive. This is why in the last 2 fights, my Freddys haven't died when the rainbows touched them. The rainbows just kept rolling the 3 in 4 chance to hit a grave instead, which got me an easy win. But for now, we've arrived at Black Tomb Yard. Unfortunately, by this point, even the regular enemies are starting to give us trouble. In these later areas, enemies simply don't die quickly enough, so now I'm getting more and more game overs. Right now, I have to run away from every single battle. I can't even level up my characters here. Thankfully, unlocking new characters is still manageable, as in this area, I was able to unlock Withered Bonnie. I ran into the caves and eventually made it into the Pinwheel Funhouse. This opens up the option to increase our damage a lot more, as the Lolbit shop here sells UFO bites. These UFOs deal a ton more damage than the bees do, as they deal about 125 damage per hit compared to the bees' measly 10 damage. I bought 2 of them, and just to humor myself, I wanted to see if I could defeat Browboy. I could not. Compared to Bouncer, Browboy has a ton more health we need to shred through. While Bouncer had 2,000 health, Browboy has 10,000. This seems like it'd be a big issue, but now that we have access to 3 new areas, we can obtain a lot more items to deal with his health. If you go all the way around Black Tomb Yard, you'll find this secret cave which houses a Mad Endo. When I defeated him, I was able to obtain the Freddles Fury chip. This chip makes it so you're always sending out Freddles in battle, which run across the screen to attack enemies for a lot of damage. This won't be enough damage though, so I needed the strongest UFO from Lolbit's shop. It took a while to grind for enough money, but after 30 minutes of picking up the money chests in Fazbear Hills, I was able to do it, and I bought the UFO. After I did this, I encountered Phantom BB for the 5th time. Unfortunately, I did lose the footage for this fight, so here's my dramatic reenactment.
Hi.
Anyways, with all my new items ready, I went to fight Browboy. On my first attempt, I noticed how quicker I was shredding his health. My Freddles and UFOs were really putting in good damage. I was on a really good run, but unfortunately, right before he died, I got bad rainbow luck and I got a game over.
Oh, we were right there, man!
On my next attempt, however, I got a lot luckier as the rainbows kept hitting my dead characters over and over instead of Withered Foxy. Because of this, I was able to win the fight. I've made it to the Pinwheel Funhouse. But the issue here is that there's no checkpoint that exists for me to warp to the area. If I die here, I'm gonna be sent to the start of Pinwheel Circus and be forced to fight Browboy again. So when I got into my first battle, I initially wanted to run, but then I got an idea. Hey, you know what? Actually, no. I'm gonna genuinely try and, like, kill these 2 enemies. I was pretty annoyed, but then I realized how much of a dunderhead I've been this whole time. I've had access to grabbing auto mimic since I've been in Black Tomb Yard, and I just haven't done it. The chip spawns a mimic ball that essentially doubles all my character's attacks, so it's one of the most useful chips for increasing damage output. This chip makes the Brow Boy fight much easier, so dying and having to refight him isn't really an issue anymore. By this point, however, I realized that while I had strong chips and bites, my characters themselves were really lacking in firepower. I had a couple good characters, but I was still using a lot of the starting ones. So I went into the deep metal mines of Black Tomb Yard to grab the Fine Characters chip, which is guarded by a mad endo you have to defeat to grab it. This was when my success in fights absolutely plummeted. Wait, what? My luck is crazy. Foxy, don't die! Foxy, don't die! What?! Okay, no, nobody die. Nobody die. Nobody die. Okay, Foxy. No! What? Okay, third time's a charm. This time, I will kill him. No! I'm gonna kill him, but everybody's gonna die again! I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him, and then Foxy's gonna die. Give it up for loss number 5! God, I feel like I'm Sisyphus, and I'm pushing up the boulder. And then Foxy's gonna die. The redemption? If I kill Nightmare Chica, and I die again. Oh my god! It's a joke. It's a joke. It's just a joke. Nightmare Chica, thank you. Oh, and guess what? Bonnie's gonna die. Yup. I just couldn't win any fight anymore. I kept dying to Mad Endo in every single character encounter I got. What's even worse is that Mad Endo isn't even a hard fight. So much so that I first tried him when I needed to get Freddle's Fury. The issue is that I keep getting a game over afterwards. Even though in previous fights, this has never happened when all of my characters have died. To beat Mad Endo, I was gonna have to learn how getting a game over works after winning a fight, and how to prevent it. Welcome to the Dapper Waffles class on preventing death. Firstly, don't stand on the edges of cliffs. It's pretty dangerous up there.
Wow, I'm pretty high up. I hope I don't fall off the edge.
Basically, how this game works is that even after you win a battle, if your last character dies, you can still game over. But there's a way to prevent this from happening. If you win a battle and you have at least one character alive on both teams, you will never game over. This is because even if all the characters on screen die, you still have other ones alive in reserve on the other team. After you win a fight, the game is unable to swap to your other team, which means your other character will always stay alive no matter what. Just as long as you have one character alive on the other team after you win a fight, you will never game over, as the game can't do so unless everyone is dead. Now this begs the question. When I defeated Withered Foxy earlier, everyone was dead. Nobody was alive on the other team, and my last character died before the battle ended. I should have game overed here. So why didn't I? Well, you may remember me saying that if a character is dead but they level up after a battle, they get revived. This means that the second before my last character died, the EXP gained caused someone on the other team to level up, which revived them, and therefore prevented a game over. You can see in the footage, there's the cheer sound effect and the confetti, but nobody revives on Team 2. This means someone was revived on the other team instead. If one of my characters didn't level up on the other team, I would have not unlocked Withered Foxy, and I may still be stuck in Dusting Fields to this day. With this new knowledge on how game overing works, I changed my strategy on how I was going to defeat Mad Endo. Basically, I start out with Team 1, and right before the last character dies, I swap to Team 2. Then, I defeat the boss, and even if everyone on Team 2 dies afterwards, the character alive on Team 1 prevents the game over. This strategy worked beautifully for this fight, as I was able to beat Mad Endo on my first try with it, finally unlocking the chip. This strategy is going to be used going forward for every future boss. It's incredibly helpful in securing a win. With this chip, I unlocked lots of new characters, but the only important ones were Endo-01, Phantom Mangle, Nightmare Bonnie, and Phantom Marionette. So now with brand new characters, new chips, and some strong bites, I thought I could take on Bubba. I got him to about half health, but unfortunately all of my team ended up dying. Now, this didn't seem so bad. I mean, stuff like this has happened before. A boss wasn't close to being defeated, and I just got new items and characters to deal with them. But this one was different. For this challenge, Bubba is an incredibly huge difficulty spike for us to deal with. It didn't take me 1 hour of gameplay to beat him, or 2, or 3. Let me tell you all the story of my 10-hour journey to defeat Bubba. So, what exactly makes this boss so difficult? Well, when we compare him to other bosses, it'll start to make sense. Brow Boy had 10,000 health, and the boss after Bubba, Pork Patch, has 20,000. So you would think, okay, he's probably gonna be in the middle of these two health-wise and have about 15,000 HP. No. In reality, Bubba has a whopping 30,000 HP, which is a massive difficulty spike for us when our goal is to shred through a boss's HP as quickly as possible. We don't have to just double our damage from Brow Boy, we have to triple it. Firstly, let's take a look at all the chips and upgrades we can buy to help in this fight. We're gonna need everything we can get here. We can buy 3 different things. Boss Strains for damage on bosses, the Titanium Endoskeleton to upgrade our defense, and finally, Kaboom!
Did somebody say boo?
Oh wait, oh god, I didn't mean that! Now, Kaboom is kind of a forgotten bite in this game. It's not really useful in many fights because it only deals damage once, and in longer fights you get more damage out of UFOs or boss strains. But when we're forced to defeat every boss in about 30 seconds, it becomes incredibly useful. When the bomb detonates, it can deal up to 5,000 damage, which is 1/6 of Bubba's total health gone with just one bite. The only issue is that buying all these bites and upgrades is gonna cost just a bit. Not a lot, really. Just $20,499. You know, pocket change. I could find that sitting on the road. I mean, like, it shouldn't be that bad. I probably have the money. Let me just check my YouTube ad revenue for the month.
Oh my god.
Hey, Mendo, would you take expired Kohl's cash? I'll be honest, my original explanation for how I was able to get the money was really wordy, so I'm just gonna quickly summarize it. Basically, I can't grind money off enemies because I'll die, and I can't defeat Gold Endos in the Funhouse for money because he has way too much health. Instead, I got a bot to open and close my character select menu on this specific tile in Fazbear Hills. This tile can sometimes spawn a chest when I open and close the menu, and since I'm standing right on top of it, I'll instantly collect it. After almost 7 hours of running the program, I finally obtained enough money to buy everything I needed. I got the boss strains, Titanium Endoskeleton, and Kaboom. Also, I went ahead and nabbed the Curse status chip, which helps us deal extra damage as it automatically applies a defense debuff at the start of a battle. Because we have the Titanium Endoskeleton for defense, I opted to remove the auto shield chip from my loadout for Curse status instead. Also, I was able to unlock some very helpful characters, namely Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Fredbear, and most important of all, Springtrap. All these guys have high damaging attacks, but Springtrap especially does, as he has the move Springlocks, which can deal over 1,000 damage on hit. My main team for the fight consists of Nightmare Freddy and Fredbear to spam Freddles, Springtrap for Springlocks, and Endo-01 to set up Endo Army. After 7 hours of grinding, we now have the best chips, bites, and some of the strongest characters. So, how are my attempts at defeating Bubba? Even with all 4 characters spamming incredibly high damaging moves, even with my UFOs and boss strains, and even with Auto Mimic and Freddle's Fury, sometimes I still wouldn't even get close to defeating Bubba. Upon further research, however, I realized that this team definitely could deal enough damage and take down Bubba. The fight would just need to go absolutely perfectly. This perfect attempt I need consists of 4 components that all need to go well. If one doesn't, we get a game over. Let's go through these one by one. Component number 1, Endo-01 and Endo Army. Firstly, when we spawn in the fight, Endo-01 needs to go first so we can pop Endo Army. This army of Endos shoots lasers at your enemies, which deals good damage over time. But what you may not know is that sometimes these lasers can crit. Yes, these lasers have a small chance of critting for over 1,000 damage. To win this fight, we need to use Endo Army as soon as possible to maximize our damage, along with getting at least 1 laser crit. Component number 2, Kaboom. Once we pop Endo Army, Kaboom should be close to exploding. I said earlier that Kaboom deals up to 5,000 damage, but we only get 5,000 damage if we get really, really lucky. In reality, Kaboom deals anywhere from 1,001 to 5,000 damage. We need him to deal at least 4,000 damage, but more often than not, Kaboom simply won't deal enough damage, which leads to a game over. Component number 3, Jump Scare. One of Bubba's main attacks is Jump Scare, which stuns your characters from being used for a bit. We don't want this to happen because then our characters can't throw out attacks, which lowers our damage. While a chip does exist to block the move entirely, we can only use 4 chips at a time, and the ones we're using are too important to get rid of. This means that all we can do is pray that he never uses the move. But unfortunately, Bubba doesn't like to shut up. No matter what though, even if all 3 of these components of the fight go well, it won't matter if we don't get lucky with component number 4. The rainbows. As we've discussed, the rainbows can end up hitting characters which are already dead, as the odds for hitting each character is a 1 in 4 no matter what. To win this fight, we have to be incredibly lucky with rainbow attacks. We need them to keep hitting dead animatronics. We need to have Bubba reach half health or less while at least one person on Team 1 is alive, so we can swap to Team 2 on pace to win the fight. But after this, we still need to get lucky with rainbow attacks again and make sure the fight ends before all of Team 2 dies. If we don't, we'll swap back to Team 1, and even if we win the fight, we can't prevent the game over. You all may have noticed a theme with all 4 of these components. All of them revolve around being incredibly lucky. You have to get lucky with the Endo Army critting, Kaboom's damage, Bubba not jump scaring, the rainbows, everything. If you get unlucky with only one of these, your damage output won't be high enough and you're gonna get a game over no matter what. For example, in this attempt it was looking incredibly promising. I had gotten an early Endo Army up and my luck with the rainbows was incredible. Unfortunately, Bubba jump scared not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. If he didn't jump scare, it would have been the winning attempt. I know I could have gotten a character with Cosmic Song to increase my damage compared to the Freddles, but really it wouldn't have made a big difference anyways. Cosmic Song would only do a couple hundred more damage, and that doesn't help fix the thousands of damage I'd miss out on with bad RNG. By the way, every time you do game over in this fight, you're sent all the way back to the Pinwheel Circus and have to fight Browboy again. Then you have to make it all the way through the Funhouse again just to get another attempt at the boss. With needing to get incredibly lucky, and being punished harshly every time you die, this boss was such a major time sink. I grinded attempts for 2 hours straight, and I had defeated Bubba twice, but every time I did, I game overed immediately afterward as I didn't have a character alive on the other team to prevent it. After losing so many attempts at the boss to factors I couldn't prevent, eventually I started to get a wee bit upset. It got so bad that I started to gamer rage at my party when they wouldn't run away from battles fast enough. Looking back, it was pretty funny. This large amount of gamer rage in my system was too much to handle, and it got to the point that I started to accidentally use the wrong moves in battle, which ended up throwing promising attempts into the trash.
Wait, oh my god, this is actually gonna run though.
Eventually though, after almost 3 hours of attempts, I was on a surprisingly good run. By the end of Team 1's attacks, I had gotten the boss down to less than half HP. To keep Endo 1 alive, I swapped to Team 2 to deal the rest of the damage. Unfortunately, my rainbow luck wasn't great, and I wasn't able to close out the fight before all of Team 2 died. I defeated Bubba, but it seemed like I was just going to game over again. But then, every single rainbow kept missing. Over and over and over again, I got lucky and each one missed Endo 1. I was absolutely shocked. This could finally be the one! I could win!
No way! What?
So, let me put this into perspective for you all. The last possible rainbow that was in range to attack me right before the fight ended, attacked, rolled the 1 in 4 to hit my last alive character, and caused me to get a game over seconds away from victory. I could have gotten a game over on any of the earlier rainbows, but the game decided to give me a big middle finger and it waited until the very end to crush my hopes and dreams. I was upset. But would that change anything? All I could do was go back to grinding out more attempts. So that's what I did. But after 30 more minutes of attempts, however, I was on an incredible run. The fight began, and immediately I started on Endo 1 and popped Endo Army. Springtrap used Spring Locks and it hit for an incredible 1,200 damage. The bomb detonated and it hit for 4,409 damage. Not long after, the Endo Army landed a crit for over 1,000 damage. On top of all of this, Bubba hadn't even jump scared once so far. I even had great rainbow luck, but eventually Springtrap died and I swapped to Team 2. The boss was already down to such a low amount of HP, I just needed to stall out a little longer. I was able to defeat the boss, but then Phantom Mangle died. Another attempt lost to bad RNG. Wait, why is it still going? Well, you see, even though my last Team 2 character died, that doesn't mean everyone was dead. I mean, didn't I still have someone alive on Team 1? With 2/3 of a second separating Bubba's death from Phantom Mangle's, I was able to stall out just long enough to guarantee someone would always stay alive on Team 1, which fully prevents a game over. The 10-hour journey to defeat Bubba was over. Guy. Oh my god! The one was alive on Team 1! No. Yeah! It's over! It's over! Oh my god, it's over. After having an incredible pop-off around my room, I made my way through the glitched object and made it to Pork Patch. Thankfully, there's a switch you can unlock that opens up the area, so if I die, I won't be forced to fight Bubba again. I went to fight Pork Patch, and honestly, this fight was a sigh of relief. He only has 20,000 HP instead of Bubba's 30,000, so shredding through his health was a lot easier, and I was able to defeat him on only my second attempt. Yet again, Phantom Mangle died after the fight finished, but yet again, Nightmare Fredbear was alive on Team 1, preventing the game over. With the key obtained, all I have to do now is defeat all 3 bosses guarding the security switches, defeat security, and finally, defeat Scott. Now, out of the 3 bosses guarding the security switches, Supergoon is by far the easiest. Supergoon has the lowest health out of the 3 at only 20,000 HP, while the other bosses have 30,000 each. With this knowledge, I went over to him and defeated Supergoon on my first try. Now, we're just left with the 2 bosses with 30,000 HP, the same as Bubba. Honestly though, they weren't too bad either. Overclock didn't take many attempts to beat, especially because I didn't have to worry about jump scare anymore. And while Snowcone was definitely the hardest out of the 3, it didn't take me too long to defeat him either. It really should have taken longer than it did, but Nightmare Fredbear decided to clutch up again and carry my team to victory. In total, 18 rainbows attacked him, but each one whiffed and hit a grave instead. On average, he should have gotten hit at least 4 or 5 times. But Nightmare Fredbear's just the GOAT!
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
This is the 3rd time Nightmare Fredbear has won me a fight. And honestly, I think he deserves a reward. I'm gonna go give Fredbear a big kiss! Baby, I love you. Baby, ooh. You're so fun. Oh wow, you're really going in for it, huh, Fredbear?
Was that the bite of 87?
After a trip to the ER and being forced to live through FNaF 4, I returned to FNaF World with just 2 bosses standing between me and victory. I went into the Pinwheel Circus with the goal of defeating the second to last boss, Security. Let's go into the fight and see how well we do.
Okay, we are cooked. Yep, we are absolutely cooked, chat.
Okay, let's be real here. There's simply no way to get through 100,000 health before the rainbows kill us. We have to put back on the auto shield chip to block Security's alarm attack, which insta-kills us. So we also have a lower damage output than usual. At the absolute luckiest, we could maybe get through 35,000 health before we die. You would have to be absolutely insane to think this fight would be possible to beat.
Hey, your diagnosis came back from the doctor.
Oh really? Sweet. Yeah, I still think this fight is possible to beat. We're in the home stretch now, and I'm not gonna let 100,000 health prevent me from winning this challenge. I've spent about 16 hours on this file, and I am not letting that all go to waste now. The harsh reality is that we simply are never gonna be able to deal enough damage to just brute force our way through the fight. Therefore, we need to try out a completely new strategy. One more focused on defending rather than attacking. Here's the deal. We change all 4 characters on Team 1 to be characters with the move Gift Boxes. Each time we use Gift Boxes, we spawn in 4 presents that allow the team to be revived if they get hit with a rainbow, similar to the chip we've used for most of the challenge. If we combine this move with an endless speed and auto mimic chip, we can throw out revives incredibly quickly, along with doubling the amount of gift boxes we can provide due to the mimic ball. The goal of this new strategy is to spam revives as fast as possible so we can out-revive the rainbows entirely. There's just one issue with this plan, and it's that my damage output has decreased a ton due to spamming revives instead of attacks. To compensate for this, I'm gonna go grab the fan, which is a secret bite you can unlock in the game. It works similarly to Endo Army, as it shoots out lasers that can sometimes crit for over 1000 damage. What makes this bite especially helpful though is that similarly to Dee Dee's Pearl, it doesn't even need to be selected. It doesn't take up a bite slot and always attacks for you in every fight once you unlock it. Unlocking it, however, is its main issue, as it requires you to unlock both every base game character, along with obtaining all the bonus Halloween minigame characters. I could have gotten this bite earlier for the Bubba fight, but to be honest, the sunk cost fallacy really had me by the balls. Anyways, for the next 40 minutes, I grinded out characters in the funhouse, and got every character except one. Spring Bonnie is the only one I was missing, and is the rarest character in the game with a 1 in 261 encounter rate. It may have taken me 3 hours of grinding in the funhouse. I may have cried after losing an encounter due to bad rainbow RNG, but thankfully after running away from hundreds of battles, I was finally able to encounter and unlock Spring Bonnie. All that was left was to get the Halloween minigame characters, which thankfully involves no battles, which means no more rainbows. I quickly got all the characters from Foxy.exe and Freddy in Space, and also got both characters in Foxy Fighters after beating it without getting hit once. In my opinion, Foxy Fighters is just a bad Cuphead plane level, so I think my skills just transferred over. All that's left is to unlock the last 2 characters in Chica's Magic Rainbow. Wait a second. Chica's Magic Rainbow? Oh no, 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 no. I thought I didn't have to deal with him here.
Welcome to my happy fun rainbow land. Let's start with something simple. Ah, don't give up!
You know, I was worried that this would be the worst minigame by far to complete out of the 4, but honestly, I don't think it was that bad. Once you learn the patterns of where everything attacks, it isn't super difficult in my opinion. Of course, I can't deny that Chica's Magic Rainbow itself is really annoying. All she does is make fun of you every single time you die. But I have a solution.
You suck. Yeah, get some skills and call me in the morning. Oh, I'm laughing at you. No.
After about an hour of attempts at the minigame, I was able to unlock the last 2 characters, which means I finally got the fan. I went ahead and set up my team accordingly. I put all my gift boxers on Team 1 and put on Endless Speed and Auto Mimic. With my team ready, I went to fight security. With this strategy, I thought this fight would be a cakewalk. All I have to do is just spam gift boxes over and over, and I should be able to just brute force a win. In reality, however, the fight still seemed impossible. The issue lies in defending against the rainbows. Even with my endless speed chip and mimic ball, I just can't throw out revives fast enough. Every time I got to about 30 seconds into the fight, there's simply too many rainbows to deal with and I would die. After over an hour of attempts, I was able to make it halfway a couple times, but my team would always meet the same fate in the end. This doesn't sit right with me. Something about this just seems off. I mean, I should be able to defeat security. All it should take is one use of gift boxes and it fixes everything. Let's say on my team only one gift boxer is alive. They use the move and it revives everyone. Then the mimic ball duplicates the move and it gives extra lives to everyone that was just revived. With a single use of the move, everyone should be reset back to full health with an extra life. The rainbows attack fast, but not nearly fast enough to hit 8 times to defeat all my characters in between gift box uses. I should easily be able to keep up with the amount of rainbows attacking, so I really shouldn't be dying so early. So why is this strategy not working? And then I noticed something in the footage. For some reason, the mimic ball wasn't doing anything. For multiple turns, I would use gift boxes, and the mimic ball would never duplicate it. It would just sit there and do absolutely nothing. If the mimic ball wasn't working, this meant my revive output was effectively being cut in half. And then I went on the FNaF World wiki. I looked up the page for the mimic ball and scrolled down the article. Found in the trivia section was the answer to this mystery. The truth is, my strategy was doomed from the very start. For some reason, it won't repeat the same move twice in a row. This is probably a bug. All because of this one single bug in the game's code, this strategy doesn't work. If the Mimic Ball can't repeat gift boxes back to back, it's useless and does nothing after the first turn. Without it, I can't spam gift boxes fast enough and I will always lose. After 22 hours, I've lost the challenge at the very end just because of one single glitch. Well, I didn't want to have to resort to this, but now I have no choice. Here's the deal. I know of a way to defeat the last two bosses, still without using any insta-kills or Update 2 moves. The reason I haven't done it yet is because it is so unrealistic you'd ever be able to do it legitimately. Now, these rainbows deal 999 damage, which usually insta-kills you. So, what if I just leveled up all my characters to have 1000 health? Would I be able to survive a rainbow attack on 1 HP? Every time you level up a character, they get 5 more HP, and there's no level cap. So theoretically, you could reach 1000 health. After some testing, this idea would actually work, and I was able to tank a rainbow hit surviving on only 1 HP. This means that to take the life of one of my characters, 2 rainbows would have to hit them instead of 1. This would now make the security and Scott fights incredibly easy to stall out on with gift box spam, even though the Mimic Ball is useless. But here's the one issue. To grind all my gift boxers to 1000 HP, Coffee would need to be level 133, Funtime Foxy would be level 144, Crying Child would be level 145, and RXQ would be level 146. I did some rough calculations to see how long it would take for me to grind to these levels, and I came to a conclusion. To grind to these levels legitimately in the Pinwheel Funhouse with my character's current levels taken into account, it would take me not that long actually. Only 240 hours of grinding, aka 10 days straight. This is why I said earlier that it's incredibly unrealistic you'd ever be able to do this method legitimately. So, how are we gonna get to such a high level in a reasonable amount of time? Oh boy, I sure do love looking at my FNaF World game files. I can even see all of my character levels. I hope nothing goes wrong while it's open. Oh wait, oh no, what's going on? Something took control of my mouse. Guys, it's changing the values of my character levels. Oh no. I'm so distraught. Guys, I think it's Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap from Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. He's in my computer. Oh no! Alright, look. I may be stupid, but I am not that stupid to sit at my computer for 10 days straight grinding out levels in the Funhouse. So after definitely legitimately getting all my characters to exactly 1000 HP, I went to defeat Security and Scott once and for all. Thanks to my increased health, tanking rainbow hits became a lot easier, and my strategy of out-reviving the rainbows was finally working. It worked so well that I was even able to defeat Security on only my first attempt. And now, I'm just left with Scott, the final boss of FNaF World. It took me 22 hours to get here, and I'm not losing now. My main concern going into this fight was Scott's 4th wall attack, which does massive damage to all my characters. Combined with the rainbows, it could make it pretty difficult to stall out for the whole fight. While 4th wall was annoying to deal with, my health was so absurdly high that it actually wasn't a big concern. After a few more minutes of spamming gift boxes, my bites finally dealt 100,000 damage, and Scott was defeated. After almost a day's worth of playtime, I've proved that FNaF World is possible to beat while the mini rainbows hunt you down in every single fight. But not just that, I also proved it was possible to beat on hard mode while banning both insta-kills and all the Update 2 moves that can remove them entirely. This may be the hardest challenge I will ever attempt, but also the hardest challenge I will ever beat. If you've made it all the way through this video, thank you guys so much. This video ended up being a lot bigger than I ever thought it would be. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.